Hi, my name is Didier. Welcome to the lab. We are at La Maison du Whisky in Paris, and today we're going to talk about Amaros and other Italian bitter liqueurs. So, we did mention the bitter and the select aperitivo in a previous episode when we were talking about cocktails, but we're really going to look at the different categories and subcategories of the Amaro, the overall Amaro family. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so when we think of Amaro, we think of something bitter, obviously. Amaro means bitter in Italian. Like I said, we did talk about the actual bitter category, which the famous ones being Campari, for example. And these are going to be quite bitter, as the name indicates, usually red. And these are probably going to be more used in cocktails, like the Negroni or the Americano or things like that. There is a slightly lighter version, which we usually tend to call aperitivos. So here we have Select from Venice, for example, which is going to be a little lighter in alcohol. And a little less bitter as well. So these are kind of used more for spritzes or cocktails like that. And so these are the red kind of bitter family that you're going to use before a meal, usually in a cocktail. Now, what we didn't look at yet is the Amaro family. Amaros, they tend to be darker in color, first of all. They're going to be consumed mostly after a meal. So like a digestif, either straight, on the rocks. You see them more and more in cocktails. Like with tonic water, for example, or things like that. But originally, they were more something that you drank to kind of help you digest after a meal. So there's the overall general Amaro category. So we've got the Amaro Montenegro, for example, which is a quite famous one, using 40 different botanicals from an old recipe. A lot of these are old recipes. This one's from 1885, I believe. And so, these are things that's been around a long time in Italy. And so within this Amaro category, you've also got these subcategories. One example is the Rabarbaro, which is made from rhubarb. So that rhubarb is going to bring the bitterness to this liqueur here. You've also got, for example, the Fernets. So Fernet, people think it's a brand, and there is one famous brand, the Fernet Branca, but it's actually a subfamily of the Amaro category. And Fernets, they tend to be higher in alcohol. I'd say regular Amaros, there's no rules, and these aren't actually defined in law anywhere. But you can usually expect anything in like the 20s or low 30s as far as alcohol. Fernet, they go over 40 usually, and they're going to be quite bitter. They're quite violent on the palate. So these are usually really helping to digest, or it's kind of become a shot lately in the bartending community. But there's all kinds of different families. So actually, I'm going to look at my my little cheat guide. And you've also got the Carciofo, for example, which is made from artichoke. Chinar being the most famous. You've got the quinoas with quina root, which brings the bitterness. You've got the finocchietto, which is made from fennel. The radicchio from chicory. Nocino, which is made from walnuts. Tartufo, which includes truffles, and miele, which uses honey. So there's a large variety of Amaros in Italy, especially. You've also got some outside of Italy. I mean, the Scandinavians have their bitters, which are usually quite bitter as well. Gameldansk is one example, but there's many other ones. And so, there's a lot to explore, a lot of interesting brands, a lot of interesting categories. Just remember that when you talk about bitters or aperitivos, those are going to be consumed before a meal. They're usually red. Amaros are going to be more after a meal, and they tend to be richer and maybe a little sweeter as well. Great, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. I've got a question for you as well in the comments. Amaro Montenegro, it is an Italian Amaro. Why the name Montenegro then? It's kind of nice, historical little story. So if you know the story, put it in the comments. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, follow us for more, and we'll see you next time.